if you're battling insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, you don't want to stop the carbohydrates and the plant-based carbohydrates. You want to stop the animal products, the animal fats, the meat, the eggs, the dairy, the things like that. These things all contain saturated fats. These saturated fats actually block the insulin receptors. And then when you consume carbohydrates, they flood the sugar levels in the blood and then you start to have issues. But the reality is it's not that the carbohydrates are the enemy. Like I said, it's too much of the saturated fat. If you're going to eat meat, eat it less frequently, cut it out if you can entirely and go plant-based. That'll help you overcome this stuff once and for all. But it depends on how seriously you take your health. You know, if I told you I'd give you $10 million to do a plant-based diet for 30 days, would you do it for $10 million? Well, yeah, you probably would, right? But would you do it for your own health to be able to get over type 2 diabetes or get over, you know, your insulin resistance? That's another story, right? Because money may be more important than your own health to you. But I understand, you know, if someone told me to do something for $10 million, I would have did it, but I probably wouldn't have changed my diet to a plant-based diet until I really, really was forced to. Once I did, it made a big difference. You know, I'm a big guy. I was close to 210 pounds at the time, and I did not want to cut out meat because it was like my, you know, it was everything to me. And the only way I'm going to get full, the only way that I was really going to maintain my muscle and my male appearance, all that. But the reality was, at the end of the day, you know, that this was contributing to insulin resistance. It was contributing to other symptoms, swelling, inflammation, because whenever you consume animal products, animal fat instantly triggers the inflammatory response. It triggers the NFKB pathway, other inflammatory pathways, and this causes issues that end up leading to type 2 diabetes and specifically insulin resistance. So I've helped lots of people in the situation who have insulin resistance and they're consuming way too many animal products and help them get back to a point where they're consuming potatoes and fruits and things like that with no problem. But the first step is always reducing the amount of these animal products and even cutting back on the fattiness of the cuts when you're talking about these animal products in general. If you want to be able to do this and have the best results, okay, you want to give yourself at least 3 weeks off of animal products entirely, okay, and be surviving off of plant-based oils that you have cooked, that you have steamed your plant-based foods, and then you add the oil afterwards. If you add the oil afterwards, you lose the chance of having these toxic saturated oils that cause the same issue in the first place. So at the end of the day, if you really want to be able to get over this, you got to give yourself just 3 weeks, okay? They've shown in a Adventist study, it was a 7-year study with, I think, 60,000 participants. They showed that just 3 weeks of eliminating animal products cut down on glucose levels, insulin levels by 60%. 60%. This is just from reducing animal products over the course of just 3 weeks. So if you do want to go ahead and beat type 2 diabetes, you want to overcome insulin resistance, increase the vegetables first. Okay, get heavy on the vegetables and then go for the starches and then add some fruits in and then focus on the beans, the lentils, the things like that in the plant-based oils like avocado, the olive oil, etc. Focus on those things. Lean heavier on your sea salt. You know, don't go heavy on the honey, but, you know, stick with all those other plants and just kind of start there. Give yourself a few weeks, give it a couple months, watch. You'll be tolerating more carbohydrates with less insulin spikes. And guess what? You'll be able to diversify your diet beyond just meat and some of these limited foods. Be able to eat 20, 30 different foods all of a sudden and then cut back, you know, on the animal products and just make sure you have them infrequently to make sure they're not interrupting your glucose, but or your insulin spikes, you know. So the reality is you don't want to just keep eating the animal products unless you want to just be stuck in this type 2 diabetes scenario and you want to be stuck with insulin resistance. Look up the studies. This is not something I made up. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to go to my website, endsickness.org, got hundreds of articles, hundreds of videos on there teaching you how to heal yourself out here in nature. Thanks for watching.